Oh, hello, hello. Just guys, give me a moment. Here we are. Hello, conscious dancers. Hi, everyone. This is Diana from the Conscious Festival. And as usual, we're meeting here Thursdays. Today, a little bit slightly later than usual because we have had some technical issues. And today I have a wonderful friend that I want to present to you. And I am inviting him right now to join me here in Instagram. Yes, there he is.
We've done it. We made it.
Very good. Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Tanya.
So, friends, this is Stuart. He is a 5 Rhythms facilitator, and he has been already twice with us, one time in Barcelona, 2018, and last year, 2019, in London Consciousness Festival. And I love his classes. This guy has so much joy and passion for what he shares. So I am very honored to be able to say that he's going to be teaching on the 16th of May, which is going to be our next online festival, which is going to be, by the way, the last one online, at least for now, because we're going to go on summer break, and then we're going to go to our retreat edition in June 25th till 29th in Greece. So you guys, everyone here is very welcome to join us. So Stuart, back to you. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you. I think this is going to be my fourth time because there was an online event that I did as well. So
it's true.
Yeah, I feel like an old timer coming back for the fourth time. I can't wait. I'm really excited. So I just want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come and be of service in the way that I love and gets me out of bed in the mornings. Thank you.
I'm happy to keep you on your feet. So Stuart, let's talk about 5 Rhythms.
Yeah.
So maybe some of our viewers know about this. It's, let's say, from the conscious dance approaches, one of the most common. Yeah, I would say it's almost one of the oldest. But there may be people who have never heard about the 5 Rhythms. So maybe you want to share with us, what is it? What is 5 Rhythms?
Gosh, where to start? I mean, I think it's important to acknowledge that it was a body of work that was founded by Gabrielle Roth over a period of many years, in the 60s and 70s, and the outcome of her investigation into being human was the 5 Rhythms, and what she distinguished for herself is that she saw certain patterns of movement, or said in another way, could be like energy, the way people operate in the world, kind of fell into a kind of a number of categories which she didn't have names for at the beginning, but after a while she started to categorize them into 5 distinct types of being in the world, which then evolved into the rhythm of flowing, staccato, chaos, lyrical, and stillness. And she was she found a way to kind of offer this out as a way of inviting people to unravel for themselves what it is to be human. How do you relate to yourself? How do you relate to the world? How do you relate to your community? Are you naturally somebody who will, find your flow? Kind of someone who's naturally grounded, for example. Or are you someone who's naturally, has a tendency to be very rigid and, defined in what you do? So it's a body of practice that gives us the opportunity to explore what it is to be a human being. You know, it's a vast, vast territory to explore, which is why it's so exciting. Because you know, when you think you've figured out one thing, there's a whole new world that opens up when you kind of peel off the onions. And it's you know, it's an out there, it's a very out there practice. It's about being embodied. It's about dropping out from the mind, from that thinking, rational, decision-making type of mindfulness, if you want to call it that, into the more intuitive, kind of embodied way of being. Does that make sense? Was
I
that
like,
really?
no, I really like that you said mindful. How did you say mindfulness?
Mindfulness, maybe it's mindful less. Yeah, so kind of, yeah,
Mindfulness. Yes, 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 yes,
less of
yes.
this and more of this.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, what is actually new to me, I had never heard this before, and am learning right now a lot, that it's ways of living our lives, and also the yeah, are we grounded in our feet, and also the different types that we can also be, no? Are we
Yeah,
more into the I'm a very up here, yeah?
yeah, yeah.
Am I flowing with life, or maybe I'm stuck in life, you know? So I understand in the 5 rhythms, you already mentioned this is very vast practice. And it's, okay, 5 rhythms, but it's more than only the wave. So maybe you can explain a little bit the stages of the practice.
Yeah, and I think that's really a really useful thing to do, because obviously for a lot of people, you know, that you know, using the words like flowing, staccato, chaos, lyrical stillness might not mean as much as it would to somebody who's been practicing for a while. So a typical class will follow a wave, and a wave is a combination of those 5 rhythms. Um, and in terms of the energy or the tempo, the class always starts off slowly. It gradually builds up to a crescendo. So if you imagine a wave, the way it builds and then falls away. So it's built up to a crescendo, which then throws you out into something less of a crescendo. Like it's still got that kind of feeling to it, but slightly less of the energy as it's being dissipated before you finally come back to um, you know, a more softer, quieter tempo type of music. And so the music that I use and many other teachers use um, will represent that particular pattern of energy depending upon where you are in the wave. And in a class, you may find yourself being guided through one wave or two wave, or if you're in a weekend workshop for the long haul, or a 10-day workshop, many waves. It's a bit like life is one long wave, but within life being one long wave, there are like many waves, and waves within waves, and waves within waves within waves. Just it's like it's endless.
Yeah, I hear you. So when you say a wave, I mean, I'm very familiar with it, but I'm trying to just break it out so people who have never done it can understand. Um, so it's a wave. We start with a very soft rhythm.
Flowing. I think it's important to name this as the rhythm of flowing, which is a very, as its name suggests, a very fluid form of movement. It's uh, it's a receptive energy, if you want to think about it from an energetic perspective. It's that world that we sometimes, easily find ourselves living in, or struggle to find ourselves living in, where every there's how do I want to say this? Like physically, it's as if each of your movements are giving rise to the one after that and the one after that. So the way you operate in the world, the way you move in your being to someone on the outside would look quite seamless. Um, and and it's about finding the ground, because like anything, in order to get to where you need to be with integrity, you need a
Mm.
firm foundation. And so the first rhythm of flowing is about finding the ground, receiving what it is you need to make a good beginning, to then begin and embark on the journey that's ahead. And if all of what I'm saying is sounding a bit like, well, this is a bit like what happens in life, isn't it? Well, there you go. It's a metaphor for life, um, because there's so many instances where if we don't prepare something at the outset, we kind of throw ourselves headfirst into something and we find out we're kind of getting unstuck. So it's all about preparation and groundwork and
Yes.
finding the ground.
Yeah,
And
and
this
coming into the body,
coming,
the very
yeah,
first.
yeah, and it's about becoming. And I say becoming comfortable in the body, because a lot of people, myself included, when I first discovered 5 Rhythms, I wasn't particularly comfortable in my body, and still sometimes today, there's like there's elements of me which are kind of like, oh God, I don't like what I see in the mirror, you know. Um, but the part of the medicine of the first rhythm of flowing is about learning to be comfortable in the body, with everything that comes on, everything about the body, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's all welcome, and it's just about finding a place where you can be with however you are in the world, however you are with yourself. And that, can
Yeah,
take a long time, but it's worth it.
but it can also take you 2 hours of a class, for
Exactly.
example.
Yeah, it can happen just like that, in a sixpence. Yeah.
Yes. And you said before about it's like peeling an onion. Yeah, and this
Yeah.
is how I also experience any work of personal development, or like
Mm,
when we go into the inner growth, it's peeling an onion. It's not that we go to somewhere to do a class, a group, or whatever, a workshop, and then I'm going to be finished.
yeah.
You may just have touched the first layer, and this is how I experience the 5 rhythms. It's like the first rhythm is just, we're just touching the first one, and then we go into the staccato, and it's like, wow, we go into the next
Mm,
layer of the physical, but also the emotional, and as well uh, in a spiritual also. Yeah. So in the mental layer. So we're kind of in each uh, rhythm. I have the feeling we are, going in deeper layers.
yeah. With all the rhythms, there's always that element of peeling back the onion. So there's that happens like all the time. Um, and yet, with I think what you're pointing towards is the fact that when we build the foundation in the first rhythm of flowing, that foundation is not something that we then get rid of because now we're going into staccato, right? In flowing, we're as I said before, it's about becoming comfortable in the body. It's about who we are in relationship to ourselves, and then when we can build on that, um, we are then exploring that energy or that capacity to determine and explore and look at and feel into how we relate to the outside world, because the rhythm of staccato is about reaching out. It's about understanding who we are in relation to others, and to some extent, it's about who we are in relation to ourselves, but in a kind of a more externalized way. And there are there are there are there are people who are naturally adept at being with who they are, and being in that particular rhythm. And there are people who really struggle with boundaries and when to say yes and when to say no. Um, but wherever we are on that spectrum, the beauty of this practice is that we can come together, these days online, or hopefully in the future back into groups where we can explore what that is in a safe way, and discover for ourselves where what it is that's blocking us from being absolutely clear on who we are and how we are in relation to others in the world, so that when we are clearly a yes, we can say yes, and when we are clearly a no, we can say no, with integrity, and without overstepping other people's boundaries. So it's a the second rhythm is, I mean, I despised it. I loathed it for years. It was this annoying thing that got in the way between flowing, which I felt I was quite good at, in terms of doing flow, and then staccato, and then chaos, which I just loved. I used to, when I first started dancing, I would come away wearing my blisters on my feet as badges of honor. It's all about the chaos for me. And I've learned over the years as to kind of what that's all about. But I'll talk about that in a bit, maybe. But yeah, staccato. It's medicine, but sometimes it's a challenging medicine. It can't be.
But it's amazing what you're saying, because exactly those things in life, now we're talking about the 5 rhythms, but in general, things that are a little bit more challenging for us, or where we have like, let's say, resistance towards. We say, this I don't like. Sometimes it's a mind thing. I don't like it, but it's not that just you don't like it. If you look a little bit closer and maybe deeper, you might even discover something that it has to do actually with you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the beauty about this practice is that if you are resistant to something, then this isn't the place where you leave that stuff at the door, right? This is where you come into the room, and if you're experiencing some kind of resistance, then the invitation is to give it form,
Yes.
give it shape, breathe into it, get fascinated by, well, what is it? What part of my body is feeling resistant? Shining a light of curiosity into that element of who you are, is quite profound, because there's a lot of practices where you kind of have to kind of stamp on it and make it wrong and all of that, whereas here it's like, okay, great, bring it on, everything is welcome here, let's explore that aspect of, it's not necessarily resistance. It could be, you could describe it as, just sometimes you feel frustrated or annoyed or upset or can't be bothered. All of that stuff that sometimes gets put into that so-called scary bucket of the shadow. It's just another part
Yes.
of who we are as human beings. And when we give it full permission to be, sure as hell, something else has the possibility to then show up, because I'm sure someone famous once said, "What you resist persists."
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
But in my world, in my experience of the 5 rhythms, when you give whatever you're resisting form and shape, its grip on you somehow lessens. And
Yeah.
that's a very powerful
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
practice.
It's with resistance is, in my experience, is just to become aware of it. The moment
Yeah,
you understand that there is something there, that if you allow it to be there, but you move, then you move through it, and then you
yeah,
can reach the breakthrough.
yeah, yeah.
And what I find beautiful about the conscious dance practices is that we have tools to move through all these resistances in order to flower and open up and live a more liberated life, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I want to remind our friends who are viewing right now that we have on May 16th, our next online event. Stuart is going to be teaching a 5 rhythms class there. And we're going to have another amazing event in person, this time in Greece, which is going to be our first retreat edition on the Greek island, Lesbos, June 25th till June 29th. If you have questions, send me an inbox and I'll be happy to answer you. So, Stuart,
Mm.
I was wondering, how did you end up teaching 5 rhythms?
Deep breath.
How was that?
Digging into my past. So I guess it probably can. The story can begin when I was in my early 20s, because that was a time where I was. I had a life which allowed me to kind of chase the party scene around the world. You know, I was gallivanting off to India, South America, Ibiza, and I was kind of I cut my dancing teeth, so to speak, on the kind of legendary trance parties of Go in my 20s, and it was it's quite a formative part of my life that was incredibly enjoyable and fun. But as life moved on, the and family and work and all of that came by. My ability to suddenly just kind of up sticks and disappear off to the other side of the world for a party under the eclipse of a sun, for example, was not quite so attainable, or available to me. And I think over the years, what happened is that that kind of aspect of me that really enjoyed dancing kind of like took a back seat, because it just wasn't that capacity to do it anymore. Um, and then 2007, well, I think actually 2006, a friend of mine kept begging me and bugging me to come and check out some 5 Rhythms in a place in London. And I kind of resisted it
There we are
for a
again,
year.
resistance.
Yeah, but it caused persistence, and he was very persistent, and eventually I came. And you know, going back to something I mentioned earlier on, it's like when I went there, it's 2 hours, and all I can remember of that class is like it was just like a mini rave. It was like 2 hours of like really furious dancing. I don't remember anything about the flowing or the stillness. It was like, wow, this is like a 2 hour rave. And I can get up the next day and go to work, and I was pretty much hooked from that point on. I was like, this is really the thing that was missing, and I could do it in a way that was healthy, let's say. You know, and so that kind of kicked everything off, and I go to I become a regular, and I kind of go to different classes and all of that. And what I discovered after a while of coming back to these classes is that there'd be some days where I wouldn't feel like I really wanted to go, or I'd have a really hard day, and I just think, oh man, the last thing I want to go. But anyway, I'd go anyway.
You were going, when you say regular, like once a week.
Yeah, once a week, sometimes a couple of times a week, and and I discovered that what started to open up for me was that it wasn't just about coming and having a dance. It was like something quite profound was going on, because I would come in a certain way, feeling a certain way, and I'd come out feeling completely different. And it'd be like you know we all got to feel different on different days. And if I had one of those days of real frustration and upset and whatever, work, life, all of that, I could just bring that into the dance, and something would shift. It was like that kind of hold that stuff can have on us, that had on me, somehow was lessening its grip just through moving. And that got me interested. That got me really interested in what this practice is about. And over a good number of years, I started going to workshops, and then there was people saying, "Oh, Stu, you should be a teacher." And I was like, "No, I can't do that. No, DJ, I can't, so way above my league." Um, and then finally, there was a time, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, where I kept thinking about it, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to dedicate, a month of my life going to workshops and going to classes, and just having that question about, do I really want to become a teacher, or do I just love the practice? And for anybody who is thinking about a teacher, that was a really critical question to get clear about, whether you're just in love with the 5 Rhythms, in which case you just should keep on teaching, or whether you've got a genuine calling for teaching. And after this period of time, it got really clear for me that I wanted to teach. And so from that point on, everything that I was doing then aligned with what I needed to do in order to become a teacher. And so I took the training in 2017, qualified in 2018, and now I've just celebrated my 3rd-year anniversary teaching online, offline, and now in pop up 5 Rhythms in the woods in Wimbledon. It's who would have known, eh?
Yes. You stay. Hey, the situation is keeping us creative.
Yeah.
Let's let's take a look at the bright side.
Mm.
Yes, very nice. Oh, super
Yeah.
sweet. Thank you for
Mm.
sharing your personal journey, the 5 rhythms.
Yeah, and it's taken me all over the world, to be honest with you.
Mm.
You know, I've done a lot of workshops in a lot of work in Spain,
Mm.
and obviously I went to Barcelona with the Conscious Dance Festival a few years ago, and you know a lot of the training is in America, so it's also a good opportunity to get to see the world as well.
And I'm here pulling
Yeah.
strings. Bring him also to Greece, guys.
Yeah,
Let's
that'll
do
be
it
good.
together.
Yeah. God, I need a holiday.
So let's
Yeah,
celebrate it.
yeah,
Greece, we're coming. Greece,
yeah.
sun, beach, dancing, meditation. I mean,
Mm.
come on, guys. What else? What else can we
What,
ask for more?
what could be better? I don't know.
Beautiful, Stuart. Thank you
Mm,
so much for being with us and sharing with us.
mm. Oh,
It's
thank
very,
you. It's such a joy to be able to kind of share what my passion is, and it's always lovely to connect with you and whoever else is out there. Can't see you, but I know you're there, and yeah, I just can't wait to the 16th. It's going to be a great day.
Yes, guys, you've just heard it.
Mm,
May 16th, we meet again online, Conscious Dance Festival, 4 o'clock p.m. Berlin time. We're going to have our last online event before we go in the summer break. So if you want to stay also connected with us, remember every Thursday at 7 p.m. Berlin time, we are meeting here. We're having here in Instagram, here in Facebook. And we're having a question right now. What exactly makes you choose these methods between lots, like between the other ones? Well, I don't know, Stuart. Did you try anything before like besides the 5 rhythms?
The person who invited me to 5 Rhythms. So if it had been something else, maybe it had been something else. But um, there's another answer to that question. And yeah, I mean, I did a lot of sitting meditation and other stuff like that. And you know, I did a lot of developmental work with I don't know how you describe it, but you know, companies that you know teach transformation, and all of that stuff has been very instrumental in how I apply some of my teachings. But the things that really turn me on is the dancing and the embodiment and the movement practice that gets me off my backside. So that's it. You know, and you know, I have the utmost respect for the other similar modes of teaching, but it just so happens that what landed on my doorstep was the 5 Rhythms.
Yeah, and just from my side to moverse, a quick an answer. It's also, I mean, this is exactly what the Consciousness Festival is about. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a platform where you guys can join and try out and experience on your own these different types of approaches that are out there. There are so many. So
Mm,
as a festival, we are inviting all these teachers around the world with all these beautiful methods and approaches, and you yourself, while experiencing them, you might it just makes a click. You never know what it's going to be. Yeah, it
mm,
can be a 5 rhythms, it can be a rio abierto, it could be an open floor, it can be a slow motion, it can be so many different. It's just that which you yourself connect the most, that thing that it makes a click for you.
yeah. And I think
Okay.
that's what's so great about the Conscious Dance Festival, because you know, Gabrielle Roth was often quoted as saying that 5 Rhythms teachers are like fine wines, in the fact that you should taste them all. But I think you could extend that to, you know, other modalities. Like they're all like fine wines, and we come together on on these festivals to kind of sample them all, and we don't get a hangover the next day. Fantastic.
I like
Yeah.
that. Stuart, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Big hug to you in UK.
Mm, yeah.
And guys, see you all on the Sunday, May 16th.
Yeah. 3 o'clock to my English buddies out there.
4 o'clock in Berlin time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, guys. See you soon.
Bye bye. See you then. Take care.
Bye bye.